The idea of job security is outdated as a landline. If you haven't been in a search for a while, it's probable you will at some point, by choice or not. Most executives admit to staying way too long, or sense what's coming, and justify staying anyway. There's another reason. The faulty belief that navigating to what's next will inevitably be worse and has to suck. Screw that. Loren Greif has spent a lifetime in corporate and executive search, calling bullshit on stale career advice that most still use. This is Career Blast in a Half, the career podcast for executives ready to cut past outdated career advice to fuel your outcomes now. So let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Career Blast and a Half. And you guys better be buckling up because you got like two crazy, amazing, strong women here. I am so thrilled. Oh, this episode is called The Widening Pay Gap for Women and What to Do About It. Now, I could think of no better guest. I mean, I could literally span the globe, but who you have today and who you're going to listen to is Cindy Gallop. If you don't know Cindy, she is a force of nature. And literally her makeup is part truth teller, part industry disruptor, but always, and I mean always, entirely unfiltered. Yes, she was a former ad executive, but then she turned entrepreneur, but she is best known as the founder of Make Love Not Porn. She's one of the loudest and clearest voices calling out a lot of power imbalances that are unfortunately baked into business, leadership, and culture. Oh, you are just not here to talk about polite progress, right? You're about dismantling systems with candor and data. And so I got to ask you, Cindy, like, what is going on with this here pay gap? Because it's the first time since the 60s. Can you believe this, that the gender pay gap is widening? So if we've spent decades empowering women, how did we end up back here? And who is benefiting from this effing reversal?
To be perfectly frank, Loren, I don't want to spend our time talking about why we're in this situation. We all know why we're in this situation. Patriarchy, sexism, misogyny. That's why we're in this situation. I'd much rather spend our time talking about solutions.
Thank you. Okay, so then jump to it. What is the solution? Tell us, give us the bullet.
So first of all, I want to encourage every woman listening to this to do what I've been exhorting women to do for literally decades, which is I want us to unashamedly, unembarrassedly set out to make an absolute god-fcking-sht-ton of money. Okay. And the reason I make that my first point, Loren, is because most of us don't. Okay. As women, we are brought up as girls to not think about money, to not think about even careers necessarily. Whereas boys are brought up completely differently, men are brought up completely differently. And so the first and most fundamental thing is that every woman has to absolutely be determined to make an absolute god-fcking-sht-ton of money. And I deliberately articulate like that because that is how much money I want us all to make. And by the way, it's important because when you make that kind of money, it doesn't just benefit you. When you make that kind of money, you can then use that money to fund other women, to support other women, to help other women, to donate to other women. We need to build our own financial ecosystem because the white male one is not working for us. So it starts with being determined to make an absolute god-fcking-sht-ton of money. Then my recommendation to every woman is start your own business. And the reason I say that is because we have not even begun to see how every single industry could be completely reinvented through the female lens. So if you're a woman listening to this going, but I don't want to start my own thing, I don't know what it would be, simply take a long, hard look around you at the industry you work in and identify what you think is missing that should be there. what you would love to make use of, but you can't because nobody's built it, what you could uniquely bring to the table, and then start that. Okay, because that market gap and market opportunity is absolutely there in every single male-dominated industry. And, another way to think about it is, my friend Natalie Molinanino, some years ago, wrote a brilliant book called Leapfrog. So this is basically a manual for female founders. It's called Leapfrog because she interviewed a ton of female founders, including me. And she asked us all about all of the challenges that we faced building our businesses and how we'd solve them. And it's called Leapfrog because we basically give other women the solutions that enable them to leapfrog those obstacles because they already know them. But in this book, and by the way, I recommend everyone read this book because it's really, really brilliant. But in this book, there is a brilliant line from Natalie that I quote all the time because, received wisdom is that, to start a business, find your passion, find what you're passionate about, build a business around that. And Natalie says, forget passion, find things you want to punch. And so I encourage women to, again, take a long, hard look at their industry and ask yourself, what makes me red hot with rage on a daily basis? What absolutely infuriates me? What makes me so angry? And then solve that. Because if it's enraging you, it's a safe bet. There are a ton of other people, especially women, who will pay good money for that solution. So you absolutely can start a business with what you uniquely bring to the table in any context. And but I want to be very clear about why I recommend you start your own business in order to make an absolute god-fcking-sht-ton of money. Because, right now, at the top of every industry is a closed loop of white guys talking to white guys about other white guys. And those white guys cannot innovate by definition because homogeneity is the opposite of innovation, creativity, disruption. But they sure as hell can afford to acquire innovation. So when you start a business that is solving an industry issue through the female lens, all you have to do is operate it, reasonably effectively for a certain period of time. And then giant company X will buy it from you for an absolute god-fcking-sht-ton of money. And that is the quickest path to wealth creation. And so I recommend to all our listeners, go to theygotacquired.com and sign up for their weekly newsletter. So theygotacquired.com was started something like 3 years ago now by my friend Alexis Grant, who got fed up with seeing in the news all those stories about giant Silicon Valley billion-dollar exits. She started They Got Acquired to be a media platform and a resource center to showcase, celebrate, and advise on business exits on a spectrum from, at the low end, a couple of $100,000 to at the high end, 50 million. The point being, at every point along that spectrum is life-changing money for founders. And I have to tell you that, I signed up to They Got Acquired's newsletter from day one. And it's been a fantastic learning experience for me because what Alexis showcases has really brought home to me the fact that anything you start has acquisitional value for somebody. So, a couple of examples. A couple of years ago, Alexis shared the case study of a man who'd started a design blog. It was a one-man operation. Giant tech company bought it from him for $1 million. Then there was another case study of a group of founders who started something. And 1 week after they launched it, American Eagle acquired it. Again, the point being that business exits and acquisitions are not simply what most people tend to think, which is you have to work for years and years and years and years. You have to make this much revenue to then exit and be acquired. Anything you start has acquisitional value for somebody, and that may be in a much shorter time frame and in a very different form than what you've traditionally thought business exits are. So I really recommend, every woman listening to this, go to theygotacquired.com, sign up for their weekly newsletter, and let it educate you. I mean, another example is a little while back, and all this is on the website, by the way. You can absolutely find everything I'm talking about. But Alexis showcased something like 10 companies that got acquired that had no full-time employees. It is entirely possible to work with contract employees, contract workers only, and still have a really strong value proposition that makes someone want to acquire you.
Okay. I am all in on this. And I want other women to be founders, to be acquired, to have the ability to make a fuck ton shit bunch of money. And at the same time, there are still a lot of women in corporate. And part of the reason why they stay is because they need the benefits. They have other reasons why. They like the structure. They want to climb the ladder. So in those situations where they may not necessarily believe or want even to have the DNA to be that founder, how are they, in your opinion, Cindy, how can they close that gap? How are they within the confines of a less, let's just air quotes it, innovative or disruptive manner? How are they, especially in light of return to the office, able to manage that and close those gaps?
So, again, I'm a great believer in radical simplicity, Laura. I like to keep things very simple. It's this simple. The amount you ask for, job, salary, pay raise, is the highest amount you can say out loud without actually bursting out laughing. I've been giving that advice to women for decades, and it works. I hear regularly from women who go, "Oh my God, Cindy, I took your advice and it worked." So, A, do that. And B, if you don't get what you want, get the fuck out. Because if you are not valued as you should be, there is absolutely no point in carrying on working there. I have a personal coaching practice, and I coach women and men, and I coach women and men across a very broad range of industries. But I especially coach a ton of brilliant women who have no idea how brilliant they are, because for their entire careers, they've been kept back by men, beaten down by men, derailed by men, sabotaged by men. And what I have to say to those women is get the fuck out. And I explain this because, so I'm half English, half Chinese. And my English grandmother, who was an amazing woman, she was a Christian, but she was a very big fan of Buddhism. And she used to quote Buddhist sayings to us as children, me and my sisters. And I remember a particular saying, which I've had occasion to use many times since. My grandmother used to say to us, "The fool says evil cannot touch me, but drop by drop the pitcher fills." And what I say to those women is, you may think you can tough it out. You may think you can stick it out for a couple more years, but I'm here to tell you that every one of those daily microaggressions, micro-sexisms, micro racisms is eating away at your confidence, destroying your belief in yourself, killing your soul. Get the fuck out.
I want to just challenge you. Easy for Cindy Gallop to say. Easy for Cindy Gallop to say. How do we infuse some of that, not just confidence, right? I'm just going to call it out, chutzpah, the ability to be able to advocate unapologetically. Where does that come from, and how could we build that muscle? Because not everybody is so willing to speak out like that.
Well, honestly, first of all, let me just say, Loren, that I am being extremely practical and pragmatic here because, and this is especially important, again, I've been saying this for years, but this is especially important right now. Too many people make the mistake of thinking that a job is the safe option. It's not, because in a job, you're at the complete mercy of management changes, industry downturns, marketplace dynamic. I always say to people, whose hands would you rather place your future in? Those of a large corporate entity who at the end of the day doesn't give a shit about you, or somebody who will always have your best interests at heart, i.e. you? This isn't chutzpah. I'm talking about what is the really safe option.
I'm so glad that you say that, because this particular podcast is all about calling bullshit on outdated career advice. And the first piece of outdated career advice is this idea that there is job security. So there is no job security. There is no corporate loyalty. There is no guarantee. There's no gold watch. All of those things have been dead for years. But the idea that there is that continuity, and we know even that the average turnover in today's C-suite is between 3 and 3.5 years. So if your career is expected to be another 15 or 20, well, you're going to have a lot of turns. So in this process, I still go back to this question, practical or not, right? I love this idea of whose hands do you want to be in? Where is now we're talking about a different gap. Where is the gap between where we are now, women, in understanding the logic and also the actual implementation of growing a pair and being able to speak that out?
Honestly, Loren, I don't think it's ever been clearer that nobody is coming to save us, and therefore we have to save ourselves.
I am blowing the lid off of our best kept secret, our 30-day blast program. Yeah, you heard it. 30 days. We have seen so much success for this program that past clients have landed in that 30 days and increased their compensation 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, over 100%. Now, not everybody lands and earns that much in 30 days, but my point is it prepares you. And in 30 days, if you're not out of there with a changed mindset and changed, clear and simple ways to be able to navigate the market this year, then we'll gladly refund your misery and you can go back to applying now. Check out the link below for the next 30-day blast, and we would love to have you there because we live for your success, and that's what's really important. See you then.
Here we are, right? We've just watched, 130,000 people last week alone go through layoffs. We are looking at first quarter is coming up. So it's not like it's between now and then, it's not like, dramatically improving. There's a lot of folks out there who are maybe waiting for bonuses or don't see that layoffs are coming to them. Is there anything that you haven't already said within this window that you want them to exercise? Because either they're going to leave the workforce and become founders, or they're going to go back and re-engage in another corporate role. Is there something that you want to add specifically here for women in terms of how they can approach it differently should they decide to go back into corporate? What can they do now that they haven't done before that they need to do so that they don't undersell themselves?
Honestly, again, it's very simple, Loren. People value you at the value you're seen to put in yourself. Project that value and demand it. That's it.
And how are they going to pick that up? Where do they pick that up? What are the cues? What are the things that say, this woman, she values herself, she's not messing around? What are some of those telltale signs?
The telltale sign is that she walked into her pay review and she asked for a number that was the highest number she could say out loud without actually bursting out laughing.
Okay, so now I'm taking it into the real world. I'm in an interview situation. I'm networking. I feel uncomfortable. I just lost my job. I'm not feeling at the top of my game right now. And now I have to go back out and network. And I haven't been in the marketplace in 5, 10, 12 years. What is the approach that I take? How do I walk in and essentially build that network so that I can start asking for that amount that I know that I deserve?
So what you do is you go to my Substack, which is called Dear Cindy, which is where I answer a question a week, and you look up my answer to, Dear Cindy, I hate networking. How can I do it? I've written it all out.
Okay. Okay. Could you just give us a spoiler alert? We will do that. I promise you I will include that. But can you just give us the top line?
The top line is, again, it's very simple. We are in a world today where you can virtually network as much as you want. And this is why LinkedIn exists. So I've had, personally, tremendous success literally cold connecting on LinkedIn and then reaching out and messaging the person. Because if you're on LinkedIn, there's a degree of credibility within that. And because it is a business networking platform, people are open to virtual networking. in a way, honestly, interestingly, they might not be if you buttonhole them at a cocktail party.
Totally. And so do you have like a signature outreach or something that you do that, or is it different every time? Like,
You customize it according to the person.
and so pretend we never knew each other, right? Here we are, like you want to reach out to me or I reach out to you. Like, is there anything in particular that has been wildly successful in terms of securing that? Because I hear a lot from my clients. Oh my God, they never got back to me. You know, how many more times do I have to chase them down? I don't understand. Cold connecting? Like, why would somebody answer a conversation from me? They don't know me from Adam.
So first of all, flattery.
Mm.
I'm connecting with you because I absolutely loved that post you wrote about blah, blah, blah. I thought that was so interesting. Do not ask for anything. Give them something. Nobody,
Thank you.
nobody
You think.
objects. Nobody objects to someone who says, I absolutely love what you said there. And by the way, obviously, you can leave that comment on their post. You can like it. You can repost it. You can share it. Just flatter them.
Yeah. Start with that. Start with something that clearly you've observed, right? I mean, that's such an easy win. And then from there, when does your ask come in? If it is in, does it happen just organically? I mean,
yeah, but
I'm just curious.
The whole point of networking is build your network.
Thank you.
There's a reason it's called networking as opposed to get a jobbing, okay? Because that's a whole different process, And so build a relationship. You may have a longer term goal, but if you are, and by the way, obviously, you want to appreciate things that you genuinely do appreciate. You can't be inauthentic about this. But if this person is posting things you really agree with, that you really like, it's fine to build a relationship based on really appreciative of that. Maybe, there's something interesting out there you came across that they might be interested in as well. Send that to them and build a relationship before you ask for anything.
You make it sound so easy. And I understand your devout practice with radical simplicity. But I am curious, right? Because it hasn't always been that you've been able to earn and demand for what it is that you've wanted. I know you fought like hell for it. And so in those situations, right, when do you know that it's time to cut bait? When do you know that it's time to be like, hasta la vista pizza, I'm out of here?
When you are not being valued for what you are and what you bring to the table. Let me put it in very simple contemporary language. When you are being disrespected, and we all know when we're being disrespected.
Yes. Yes. And especially, I really hope for everyone who's listening that your tolerance level gets thinner and that you're not necessarily continuously setting yourself up for more of this, because those microaggressions, as you earlier referred to, right, they eat away at your self-respect and your dignity. And in order to replenish that supply, you're going to have to walk away from time to time, even when it looks like it's a safe bet. And those are hard decisions. And so I am curious, Cindy, how do you grapple with maybe a shoulda, coulda, woulda, or any kind of hard decision that you have to make to walk away? Is it that easy? You're just like, I'm done, I'm out. Or is there ever any remorse or regret or thinking, you know what, I probably should have stuck it out, given them another chance? How does that factor into this whole idea of making a fuck ton shitload of money and also having some, I guess you could say, human allowance for things that happen?
It's very simple. And in fact, I've just answered a question along these lines on Dear Cindy, where someone wrote to me who said she really, really hates her job. So I would send our listeners to there as well. But what I often say to the people I coach who have absolutely had it up to here with what they're dealing with currently is, and this is what I say in response to the lady who wrote to me at Dear Cindy. When you know you want to get out, you have literally nothing left to lose. And that is a very liberating place to be. And so my recommendation is always, before you leave, knowing you want to leave, go and ask for everything you've ever wanted from your current job. Absolutely set out to get the most you can out of where you are currently, because if they refuse to give it to you, then you'll leave. So just go.
I really love that. I've practiced that many, many, many times in my life, and it's extremely liberating and free. You have nothing left to lose, so you have everything to gain because you're on your way out no matter what anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
so go demand that pay raise, demand that new role, demand that promotion, demand that you get this new project, whatever it is. What the hell? Go for it.
Go for it. Anything you want to also add in? I do feel just incredibly, it pulls on my heartstrings, as you well know. This is the punch that I have, whether it be around ageism or a number of folks who have recently been let go. Any words, dear Cindy, anything that you want to add for those folks who are feeling like, shit, man, how am I going to be able to suit up and do it one more time or 3 more times when I am contending with so many people that are on the market who are younger than me, less expensive than me, and also, are not being told over and over again that they're overqualified. I do want to hear your thoughts on that.
So again, this is why I recommend start your own business. Okay. And I cannot say this strongly enough for several reasons. First of all, it's never been easier to start a business doing whatever you want to do because you can do it from anywhere and the tools exist to do it with. Okay. I coached a woman in one particular industry who had absolutely had enough of what she was currently doing. And so I asked her, what would she reinvent about the industry if she had the opportunity? And she said, and this is also something that not enough people think about. When I say take a long, hard look at the industry you operate in, it's not just about that industry itself, it's about the infrastructure of that industry. And so she said that she would love to start a mental health practice that supported people in her particular industry. And I said to her, oh my God, you will have clients lining up out the door, given everything you've told me about what, the point being, you can start that, work remotely, no overheads, et cetera, et cetera. So first of all, be aware, it's never been easier to start your own business, whatever it is. But then, and by the way, I said this to women, but I also say this to the men I coach. You want to make sure that your business targets women. Okay. Start a business specifically designed to provide women with whatever the solution is. And there are 2 reasons for that. The first is women buy. We are the primary purchasers of everything and the primary influencers of purchase of everything. So much so that, even in sectors that people think are traditionally male, women are the ones influencing the purchase of the car. I mean, to give you a very, very obvious one, we are the economic dynamic that businesses rely on. Okay, so first of all, sell to women because we are where you'll find the money. But the second reason is it's not just women buy, women share. So social media is certainly a holy methodology for us to do what we've been doing since the dawn of time, which is sharing the shit out of everything in a way that men do not. Because we are the gossipers, we're the chatterers, we're the advocates, the recommenders, the sharers. So much so, I say to brands that think they're targeting men, talk to women. Because women will influence men more than men will influence other men. And again, Loren, this may sound very simple, but my background is advertising and marketing. I have seen all the time brands think target men and the women will follow. And actually, it's completely the other way around. Target women, create an amazing experience for them, the men will follow. So it's easy to start your own business. And when you target women will absolutely, put their hands in their wallets, and women will tell every other woman they know about what they love that they've just bought from you.
Cindy, I'm not doing this because it was your direction, but I just need to tell you, I think you are like a human lightning rod. I am so grateful, and all of our listeners are so grateful for you being so unapologetic and also doing it in such a way that is refreshing, exciting, completely you. And I know that that is viral in and of itself. And the confidence and strength that you have given me over the years, I mean, no doubt, no doubt. I started my business. I listened to you. I can feel you like talking to me, even if I've never even met you in person. And I know that this podcast alone is going to light a lot of fires. And I hope your butts are burning. And I hope you get off your effing butt and do something, because we need each and every one of you women who are listening, and all the men who are listening, and their wives and their daughters and their everything else along the lines, to really shake a tree and make this happen. Start your own business. Stop complaining about how unequal it is, and find a solution, as Cindy has so generously advised, both on her Substack, the books that she's recommended, and by goodness, make it easy. Go reach out to her and let her know that you heard this episode today. Take this advice, because you're not going to get anything better than this. Okay. And this is the best right here.
Thank you so much for that. But can I just say to our listeners, if you appreciate what I've said, please equally support my business. Go to makelovenotporn.com, sign up and subscribe. Subscriptions start at $10 a month, but I'm out to make an absolute god-fcking-sht-ton of money with my business, so that'll help me. And also, go to my Dear Cindy Substack, and please subscribe to that as well, because all the revenue from that goes into Make Love Not Porn, again, to
and
support.
The t-shirts are great too. The t-shirts are awesome too. So
Absolutely.
Get a t-shirt and we'll all be. Cindy, I love you. Thank you. Bye, y'all. See you next week.
Thank you for joining today. We appreciate your listening ears. Big time. We ask this: use these tools, not tomorrow, right now, and share them by spreading the love, leaving us a rating and subscribe so you don't miss the next career blast and a half. Most of all, thank you for you.